Good evening, everyone. I am Lynn Varecchia from the Office of Admission at College of the Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm delighted to welcome you to the fourth week of our fall open house webinar series. In our first three webinars, we covered the topics of the Montserrat first year program, choosing a major, and experiential learning with a focus on internships and research opportunities. If you missed those sessions, I encourage you to check out the archived versions on our website. We've talked a lot about academics over the past 3 weeks, and while the Jesuits are known for a commitment to education, luckily for our students, the Jesuits also believe in cura personalis, which is Latin for care of the whole person. So tonight we'll talk about the non-academic aspects of the Holy Cross experience and hear about what students do in their free time. On our student panel are members of the sophomore class of 2023, Kim Avalar, who attended Lynn Classical High School, and Anna Parker from Yarmouth High School in Maine. Dennis Liu is a junior in the class of 2022 who attended Dennis Yarmouth High School. We also have two members of the senior class of 2021, Kyle Irvine from Waltham High School and Catherine Wynn from Eastchester High School in New York. I strongly encourage you to submit questions in the Q&A box and we'll answer them as we go along. You'll see several poll questions pop up on your screen tonight, and our first one is being posted now. And finally, I'll mention that closed captioning is available. You can activate it by clicking the CC button at the bottom of your Zoom window. As I await your questions, I'll ask a couple of my own. So first, welcome to our panelists. I'm excited to see you all tonight. And I'm hoping that each of you can tell us your favorite or one of your favorite things that you've gotten involved with outside of the classroom at Holy Cross. Kyle, why don't you go first?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. One of my favorite things that I've been able to get involved with on campus are the various music organizations that are available to all students. I've been fortunate enough to be a member of the choirs, which is one of the department-sponsored programs within the music department. So it's run by a faculty member. And I've also been able to be involved with one of the acapella groups on campus. And this year I am actually the co-chair of the only co-ed acapella group on campus called Fools on the Hill, which is student-run. And it's a great place to meet people with similar interests outside of class. So it's really great to just be able to get together with people a couple times a week and just sing. And it's really great. It's a great way to like relieve stress from class and just be able to do what you love with people, your friends that also love the same things, and being able to perform a couple times a semester and present what we've been doing to the campus community with different themes and different concerts throughout the year to really engage with the college community outside of the classroom.
You can jump in when you're ready, students.
Okay. So similar to Kyle, I'm involved in some music performance organizations here at school myself, marching band, pep band, jazz band, just to name a few. But he's already spoken about how great the community engagement is with all the arts departments here. So I'm going to go into my next favorite thing, which I'm really, really proud of, and that's working in Resin's life as a resident assistant. I think, and some people are thinking like, oh man, you're just a hall monitor or something, but it really is a lot more than that, because community is such an important part of Holy Cross. And I gotta say, it has truly been a very gratifying experience being able to act as a resource to students from different class years. If they ever need a hand, I'm always there for them. They like to reach out to me. I like to reach out to them. I like to refer them to different clubs and resources on campus, and I like to organize my own programs to really bring the community within a residence hall together. Because living at Holy Cross is not just living in a dorm building. There's a reason we call them residence hall, and that's because we believe in the whole community. We like to bring our residents together, and so that's why residence life, being an RA, is one of my favorite things to do here at school.
Hey guys, thanks for coming. I am really excited to be involved in the student government at Holy Cross. I'm a sophomore currently, and so last year I served as a clerk on the Student Government Association Senate, and this year I'm serving as a senator representing the whole school as a senator at large. And it's been a really great experience. Like Dennis and Kyle said, it's a great way to build community. It's how I met some of my closest friends at Holy Cross, and I've loved being a part of it.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. My name is Catherine. I'm a current senior at Holy Cross. I'm involved with a few different amazing student organizations, but one of the most enriching so far has definitely been SPUD. SPUD is Student Programs for Urban Development, and it's a service and social justice-oriented student-run organization on campus. I've been involved with it since the first day I arrived on campus at Holy Cross, and I'm still a member of it now. It's really amazing because it connects Holy Cross students with the Worcester community, mostly through service, but also through acts of social justice and kind of asking the questions of why is there a need for charity? And why are we going in and engaging with our community, which is so important. And so I'm so lucky to be a part of the Holy Cross community, but also a member of the Worcester community.
Hey everyone, my name is Kim Avalar. So my favorite activity that I did during my freshman year would probably have to be the BSU fashion show. Usually every year they host an annual fashion show, and that was something I really enjoyed being a part of because it's just something new, especially since I'm new to the school and something I really wanted to do. And also just to get my foot into the waters of how it feels to be in a bunch of different things. And through them, I've met so many other people, and through that, I've been involved with many other OMEs. So it was really fun doing that.
Thanks so much. And for anyone who may not know, BSU is the Black Student Union, and we'll do our best to break down those acronyms. Colleges are rife with acronyms. So I will, a student already jumped in and asked one of the questions that I was going to ask next, which was, what is the sort of the work-life balance for you as students? Academics are certainly emphasized. What do you feel is sort of the balance, and how do you maintain that in your life at Holy Cross?
So I would say that in typical Holy Cross student fashion, I have yet to meet somebody, a fellow classmate of mine, that has not been involved in at least a bunch of different clubs, organizations, and extracurriculars. And it's really important. I would say, I know in my first year it was a big adjustment getting used to college and getting used to the different workload and the different schedule and things like that. But then sort of as I became acclimated to that, I was able to get involved in more organizations. And it's a great way to have some structured time away from homework, where you say, oh, I have homework, but oh, tonight I have a rehearsal, or I have a meeting, or I have an event that I'm attending for one of my clubs. And so it's a great excuse to have that bit of balance. And it also complements a lot of what you're learning in the classroom, especially with a lot of the service opportunities that so many Holy Cross students take advantage of, that it's really not so much about a work-life balance, because everything works together, and it creates a really nice balance.
Thanks, Kyle. Dennis, there's a student asking questions about opportunities to get involved in choirs and other musical performance. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. I'll do my best. But if I miss anything, Kyle's super involved, so he can chime in if I miss anything. The choir and singing groups here are really great. I'll start off with the Acapella Ensembles. We have male and female groups. We have all male groups. We have female groups, and all throughout the week, they get together. And on Hogan first floor, where Cool Beans is, it's just rife with activity at night, because the acapella groups come together and they perform, and it's a really, really nice time. You can really feel the community feel there, because you've got kids who have been working at Hogan from day to night, and then you have people who are coming just to see their friends perform, just to listen to some good music. So that's really great. And with the acapella groups, kids audition, and there are some cuts, but it's such a nice and welcoming group. Some of the nicest people I've ever met are in the acapella ensembles. And then some other singing opportunities include the college choir and the chamber singers. Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the chamber singers has an audition and there's a cut process, and then the college choirs have somewhat of audition, but it's more just for placement. And they're easily some of the most talented groups I have ever seen on campus. I'm jealous. I play drums. I can't sing, but man, when I see them, especially on lessons and carols, like the biggest performing event on campus at the end of winter, right before finals, it's absolutely incredible. They are so good. Professor Allegro Martin runs the two ensembles incredibly. At masses, choir singers are performing, and I don't know, it's an absolute delight just to listen to students sing, to see them so dedicated to the performance aspect, and again, bringing the community together. It is so awesome, both as a listener and from people in the singing groups, whether it be a cappella or the college choirs. It's amazing. Everyone's great.
Yeah, and I will just add quickly, that was a great answer, Dennis. And there are other two liturgical choirs. So there's one choir that provides music for the 11:30 Mass on Sundays, and then there's called the Schola Cantorum, and then there's another choir called the Chapel Choir, which provides music for the 7 p.m. Sunday Mass, if you're interested in getting involved in some liturgical opportunities as well.
Thanks so much. Kim, you mentioned your involvement with the Black Student Union, and I know you've had some other experience with some of our other multicultural organizations on campus, as well as Pride. Can you tell us a bit about those groups?
Yeah, of course. So I'm also part of Pride, as you mentioned. I'm also part of LASO, which is the Latin American Student Union. And then I also involve myself with many of the other multicultural orgs on campus. So some stuff that I did with them is, like I've mentioned, I did the fashion show. I walked into the fashion show and it was so much fun. That was a great time. And for Pride, I have done Breaking the Closet, which is a safe space where you could connect with other people that share your similar story, or just even be a listener to these stories of how these people went through their story, how like they decided to come out, or just like their life experiences in general. So that was something I was a part of, and I was really happy that I was able to be reading one of my close friends' story out to other people. And also another thing that I've done with them is that we did the coffee meet together. So we usually meet up all the time to just talk and just chat about our experiences, try to connect with other students, especially underclassmen, because we're trying to create that safe space where everyone could feel welcome to come in. Yeah.
Great, thanks so much. We have students wondering, and often students wonder about traditions, and every school has their own. So if all of you, or as many of you as would like, can share a favorite Holy Cross tradition, we'd love to hear it.
I can start. I think one of my favorite traditions at Holy Cross was, or is, the midnight breakfast during final season. So during finals, everyone is cramming, and Holy Cross is a very academically focused school, as all are. But you spend most of your time in the library during finals, doing homework, studying with your friends. Everyone's very focused and trying to get as much done as they can. And then I want to say it's like 2 or 3 nights during finals, there's this thing called midnight breakfast, where your professors and the faculty of Holy Cross and the Jesuits come down to the dining halls between like 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. and they serve you breakfast, and they bring it to your table, and they clean up, and they come and sit and talk to you about finals and how your semester went and what you're doing for the holidays, everything like that. And it's really fun because it's a break from finals, which is much needed at that point. And you go down with your friends, and then you see Father Burrows, who was our president, like serving you pancakes from behind, wearing an apron and a little hat. And it's a fun little break from finals. And it's fun because everyone's down there together. So you see your classmates that you haven't seen all week because you've been in the library. And it's just the perfect break and fun tradition that I love at Holy Cross.
I'll go next. I love spring weekend. It's a killer time. It's right before finals, like not spring finals, so like the end of the year, and everyone's cramming and getting in those last assignments and studying for right before finals week. And then, there's just this nice, perfect weekend where the weather's beautiful, and the CAB, or Campus Activity Board, puts on all these wicked, awesome events all across campus. Like in the morning, they have these, they bring on farm animals on the Hovel for students to pet, take some nice Insta photos. There's snow cones, free food, fried dough, the whole and then at night, actually a little before that, they have an artist. They always invite on like a famous artist or band to perform. Let's see, not this past spring, my first year. They had Jay Sean on. People were really excited about that. The year before me, the Jonas Brothers had they had their own band. I blanking on their band, but one of the Jonas Brothers on campus. That was pretty awesome. And then at night, there's like a ton of food trucks. You get your whoopie pies, you get your hot dogs at the Hovo. And then, oh man, this one wicked wholesome moment during spring weekend is when they have this fireworks display on campus, and it's beautiful. You're chilling with all your friends. And for the lot of you who came to watch tonight, I'll let you in on a super secret, super nice spot on campus to watch those fireworks. There's this residence hall, Williams Residence Hall. Keep that in mind. There's a hill right next to it. Perfect view of the fireworks. So when you're here, that's the spot to keep in mind for spring weekend when watching the fireworks.
I will say my favorite Holy Cross tradition is something that Dennis mentioned a little bit. It's the Advent Festival of Lessons and Carols. So it happens the last Thursday of the fall semester, and it is exactly what it is, a Festival of Lessons and Carols. It's co-sponsored by the Chaplain's Office and the music department, and it's the choirs and the orchestra, and they perform a bunch of great Christmas music and intersperse our little scripture readings that are like related to Advent, and they decorate the chapel and it looks beautiful. It's beautiful on any given day, but it's especially beautiful when they decorate it for Advent, and it's a great way to like calm down from the stress that is the end of the semester and like get into the holiday spirit right before finals.
For me, my favorite Holy Cross tradition is very similar to Anna's theme with Kimball. Kimball is our main dining hall, and since it is really the only and the largest dining hall on campus, that means all class years are able to go. And so every single year, Holy Cross puts on different holiday dinners. My favorite is definitely Thanksgiving, but I love the Christmas and Easter ones as well. And it is always such an amazing time because Kimball is definitely at its peak at that moment in terms of the amount of people from all different class years who are around you. And not only is there amazing specialty food that fits each section, but there's always so many amazing decorations, and the desserts are incredible. They normally will have candy dipped apples. For the Christmas one, they have one of the students dress up as Santa and they go around and hand out different things. And so it's always a super amazing time, and one of the times that I truly feel the Holy Cross community around me.
I'd say for me would have to be around like the Christmas area, like the Christmas time period. A favorite thing that I've noticed, I can't say a tradition yet because I'm not too sure if that is what it is, but I remember one time at Hogan, right by Cool Beans in Hogan, there was somebody dressed up as Santa and they were just having a photo shoot, and I just saw they were recording, and me and my friends somehow got warped into it, and we just started recording for one of the videos of just like saying Merry Christmas from Holy Cross, and just that like memory alone, I hope I could do that again eventually at one point to keep it as a tradition, keep going on. But just that memory alone was one of my favorite things around the time.
Wonderful. So, looking at you all are so involved at Holy Cross and adjusted and have friends and love Holy Cross. But I'll ask you, for our students out there who are maybe a little anxious about starting college and heading off to school for the first time, think back to your first experience at Holy Cross. What was it like to first come to campus? How did you meet people? What were some of the best things you did? And I think you're all coming across as extroverts. And if you don't identify that way, make our introverts out there feel better that they too can get involved and make friends and enjoy campus life.
I could start. So for me, I went to Holy Cross a week before school opened up because I was a part of a program called Odyssey. So that is a diversity inclusion program for a week before everyone else comes in, just to get yourself adjusted. So I've decided to do that program so I can meet more people and just like have a connection before everyone comes in. Because I know how hard it could be. Like last year was my first year. I was a freshman. I I know like how it feels like to be like, I'm going to a new place by myself and I don't know who these people are. But, I decided to do that. And, you just got to open up, be willing to talk to other people, because everyone on the campus is so friendly. Like, I've met so many friendly people. I've never met anyone that's been so closed off. Like, everyone's so open and willing to talk to you and willing to help you. Like, you could be walking by anywhere and just be like, hey, and everyone would just reply back like, oh, hi. Like, it's just a really like friendly atmosphere. And also take up opportunities if you're given them. So if you're able to apply for Odyssey, if you are qualified for that program, it would be beneficial.
I'd say going into college is a terrifying experience. I think for most people, I'll be the first to admit I was terrified going to college. It took my parents everything to get me there. And then I got there and I was randomly assigned a roommate, as most people are at Holy Cross, which added on a level of stress, at least for me personally. And within the first night of getting to Holy Cross, I met she was this incredibly kind person who was just as nervous as me, just as excited to like meet new people. And I was living in a dorm, and I looked out into the hallway and all the doors were open. So we opened our door, and soon enough, there was like 10 people wandering up and down the halls trying to talk to you. People would just hop into your room. Me and my roommate went room hopping and just met all of our neighbors and was like, hey, like, where are you guys from? What are you guys planning on studying? Things like that. And before I knew it, I knew the hall. We all had each other's phone numbers and Snapchats, and we were making plans to go get dinner later in the week, things like that. And it was just such a natural way to meet people on campus and know the people that you're living right next to. And those are the people I'm living with, two of those girls now, like off campus, who I met that first night, just walking into their room and being like, hi, like, and so it's very scary. It definitely is. But people at Holy Cross are so excited to meet you. They're so excited to talk to anyone and everyone about whatever you want to talk about. And I think you get that community sense as soon as you get to campus, which I am very grateful for.
Holy Cross has two amazing programs for first years that I think are really great for students who are more extroverted or more introverted as well. One of which is the orientation program. The orientation program, every student is involved with, and you're placed in a group immediately. As soon as you say goodbye to your parents, you're sitting in a circle and you almost feel like you're back in elementary school where you're kind of meeting everyone for the first time and you're sitting on a field together and eating food. And there are so many activities that you do within the next couple of days before classes begin. And I met so many amazing people that I'm still friends with now through that, because you will go through so many icebreakers that you will become an expert by the end. And it really facilitates a great community, as well as the RAs, who also do an amazing job within the halls themselves at creating programs. But the second opportunity for first years that I really enjoyed, that I think was beneficial to me in meeting a lot of people, was the Montserrat program. And Montserrat is a first year seminar course that all first years take. And you're placed within a classroom with about 13 other students. It's very small. And as I mentioned before, it's a seminar-based class, and you're actually with the exact same group for the entire year. So for 2 semesters, typically with the exact same professor, you will be able to take a course, and you truly become a close-knit group. Not only are you adjusting to the academic rigor of Holy Cross, and you learn how to do things such as how to write a research paper and how to properly research for a presentation and then present it effectively, but you're also able to create dialogue with a lot of your peers that end up expanding outside of the classroom.
Great, thanks so much. We have a lot of questions from students asking about athletics, and Holy Cross is a Division I school, and we certainly have Division I athletes. About a quarter of our student population, and then about a third additionally are involved in club and intramural sports. And I'll ask Dennis to jump in, and others can certainly add to it, just to talk a bit about opportunities for students in athletics, both as participants as well as sort of the spectator experience.
Happy to do so. So I'll start with intramurals. Now, to preface, I have not seriously played soccer since I was like 10 years old. I mean, I played soccer a little bit in high school in gym, but that's high school gym class. So again, just got a nice group of, during my first year, me and a couple of my close friends, also first years, and then a couple of nice upperclassmen who said, hey, this is a nice opportunity. We should make a team. So we made an intramural soccer team composed of a bunch of kids who have not played soccer for like 5 to 10 years. And it was super fun. Those Sunday nights, taking a break from homework just to play soccer very mediocrely was a great experience. So the intramural sports are great for students who, just want to take a break from studying. No coaches, not even really captains, just getting a nice tight group of your friends together and playing against students also in the school, students of all skill levels, because there are some very, very good intramural teams. So that's one. All right, next up, club sports. So if you're coming to Holy Cross, you're already like a great kid. Even if you're considering, you're awesome. So kudos to you there. And there's a good chance you were really good at your sport in high school, but you were like, oh man, like I really want to keep up with it, but I don't quite think I want to commit or, try out for the D1 level. Club sports are perfect for you. Our club, college club sports compete against club teams from other schools, and our club sports are really good. I have friends who tell me about friends who they have who like make the cut of the club soccer team, and it's a really tight knit group, and they do really, really well against other teams as well. I think the same goes for club baseball and club basketball as well, as far as I've heard. And it's kids who are just want to keep up with their sport and put in a little more time commitment compared to intramurals, which is like 1 to 3 times a week. Club sports could be every day, could not be every day, depends on the team schedule. I did club tennis for a little bit in my first year before I decided to move on to other commitments, but that was super fun. I was captain of my tennis team in high school, and then I was like, I want to keep up with it a little bit here. And when I joined the team, I had kids who I could stand head to toe with. There were kids who were a little better than me, and there were kids who were, walking on for the first time. And I got to, step up and, just play around with them. And, it's a gratifying experience. And also with club sports, it's great because whether your club has a adult advisor or a student ran club, and they're very understanding about schedule. So if you got to take a break, you got to study for that test, that opportunity is there for you. And last but not least, number 3, D1 sports. They're great. They are such an awesome part of the campus atmosphere. Of course, you have the football games in the fall, and last year they had that awesome win. That was great, especially as a band kid sitting in the stands. That was awesome to get to travel with them, get to play with them. Always easily one of my favorite memories at Holy Cross. Also, all the student athletes are like, they're here to come to school too. They're all amazing people. Just coincidentally, me and my group of friends happened to share a hall with a bunch of football players, and we got up at the same time. We talked about classes. We talked about the game that was coming up, and yeah, it was super fun. They just fit right in there. So they're just as serious about academics as everybody else. And football is really fun to watch. Basketball and ice hockey for both genders also do really, really well and are also really fun to watch, and also are really well attended during the spring winter session as well. So all 3 sports, club, intramural, and D1, great ways to get involved, great ways to take a break, great ways to meet people, and just an awesome part of the campus community as a whole.
Thanks so much. So we've had questions about Worcester, the city of Worcester. So I'd love to hear from each of you something you really enjoy about the city of Worcester. And also there's questions about sort of the balance of time you spend on campus versus off campus, if you could address that as well.
Since my first year at Holy Cross, one of my and my friend group's favorite things has been to try a bunch of different restaurants in Worcester. Worcester has some fantastic restaurants, and most of them are all on the street called Shrewsbury Street, which is not too far from campus. And all of the restaurants in Worcester are so fantastic. And I was actually spent last summer working on campus as a part of one of the summer research programs. And some of our best memories were every Friday, me and my cohort of students that we were working with would find a different coffee shop to go to every Friday in Worcester to just work there, a little bit of a change of scenery. And it's it's a great place to be in Worcester. It is the second largest city in New England outside of Boston, and there's so much to do. And while Holy Cross on campus has everything that you could need, they also make it really easy for you to go off campus, whether that be if you need to go to the local Target or the local Walmart. They sponsor shuttles there, both weekdays and weekends. They have shuttles to Boston, and they have shuttles into downtown to do things. And so they make it really easy for you to explore Worcester, and it's a great community to be a part of as a Holy Cross student.
Worcester is such an incredibly diverse city, and I have loved taking advantage of the cultural landscape that it presents. One of my favorite things is going to the Worcester Art Museum. There are so many amazing exhibits. The last time I went, there was a Monet exhibit, and Monet is my favorite artist. I was really excited that that was brought to Worcester. And Holy Cross, like Kyle said, does sponsor a bunch of shuttles into Worcester, and they were sponsoring shuttles to the Worcester Art Museum at that time. But there are so many amazing different cultural events. I remember the September of my sophomore year, myself and a few of my good friends decided to go to START. And it's START on the street. And so about 1.5 miles of Main Street was closed off. And there are a bunch of different local artists who came and set up their own tents, in addition to a bunch of local food trucks. And so not only was there really cool art, I actually got the necklace I'm wearing right now from a local vendor at that outdoor cultural organization. But I also ate some amazing food as well. So there are so many different things that you're able to do in Worcester. And you truly do get the city feel, while at the same time being able to explore new places and having your favorite ones that you find yourself going back to time and time again.
Oh man, going off what Catherine briefly mentioned about the food, Worcester has some fire local eateries. Mezcal, great place for Mexican food. Coney Island for some super cheap because we're college students on a budget, but super awesome hot dogs. And my favorite place, Boulevard Diner. Oh man, talk about nice, cozy, great employees, amazing food at a great price. Miss Worcester's also, both Boulevard Diner and Miss Worcester are two diners that are in Worcester, both extremely good breakfast food. And me and my friends like to argue about which one's better. It's Boulevard Diner, but to each their own. If you're ever in Worcester, give both a shot. Yeah, food is amazing here in Worcester. And then on Shrewsbury Street, they have this yearly event where they have a bunch of food samples for you to walk around and try. It's a great place to go to check out the city for the first time. You get to try out a bunch of amazing food, and I cannot wait until the pandemic resides over so I can go back and get some sweet food in Worcester.
Did you want to add something, Kim?
Oh yeah, it's okay. What was I gonna say? I was gonna mention how, so I know you guys touched upon the school sponsoring buses to take you everywhere. So there was this one activity that we did during the winter was ice skating. And that was the first time I actually went ice skating out in Worcester and just walked around afterwards. So there's also things you could do like that. So you could do ice skating in the spring. They usually offer roller skating, but due to the pandemic, we can't do that, but it's okay. I just wanted to add that how there's a lot of sponsored events that you guys could do and just hop on a shuttle, and it's really easy to access.
Okay, so let's address that. I'm hearing a lot due to the pandemic. So students want to know, how are you managing to stay connected? We're talking about a lot of things that may or may not be actually taking place right now. And some of you are living on campus, living locally in Worcester, and other are living at home. So you all have different residential experiences at this point. How are you still connected, either formally or informally, to the community and to organizations that you've been involved with?
I can start. I think, again, one of the best things about Holy Cross is community. And even in these crazy times, there's nothing breaking that strong spirit from Holy Cross. I get the sense every club and organization, no matter what, is doing their absolute best to keep the community connected. And it is, it's almost surreal to see how hard all these organizations are working. From my friends on campus activity board, working relentlessly to organize events. They had a chemistry department event the other day where, one of the chem professors was like making homemade guacamole, and a lot of students came onto that. They have like I think in the month of September, there was like a weekly movie night viewing of like the Indiana Jones movies. Clubs will organize like, Zoom parties, Netflix watch parties, playing a lot of games where you can share the screen over Zoom. And even as an RA, we have remote RAs this year, and I have my share of remote residents, and we're still putting on programs. And you listen to that, and it's like, that's crazy. Like remote RAs, like, isn't that like an on-campus opportunity? But still, it's a way to keep our residents, whether they're here or apart, together. And we're organizing great events as well. We had a Jeopardy night the other week. We're having a Halloween viewing party coming up. So a ton of virtual events from almost every club and organization in some way.
Yeah, and I also will add to that that a lot of student organizations and other like department sponsored organizations are still doing a lot to still have that sense of community. So like, for example, in the acapella group that I'm a part of, we're making some little virtual videos and trying to produce still some content, but we also just like have a time that we schedule an hour once a week on Tuesday nights. Just we all hop on a Zoom together and just catch up. Hey, how are you? How are your classes going? Things like that. And it's been just a really great experience to still be able to do things like Dennis was talking about, but also so many of the things that you get from being a member of a club and organization with community. So not just about like making music or playing a sport or something like that, but also having that community. And I think that Holy Cross students, faculty, and staff have done a really great job of still having that feeling of community, whether you're at home like I am or you're living on campus or in Worcester.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I think we've all touched on how great of a community Holy Cross is for the students and among the students. But at least for me personally, I think most people would agree that extends to our professors as well. It's obviously not something they ever saw coming, that they were gonna have to learn how to teach an entire class online or anything like that. A lot of them didn't even know how to use Zoom before this all started. And they have put in so much work to be able to do that and extend that beyond just the classroom. They encourage going to office hours, they hold extra events for students. I've had professors hold separate hours just for students in the class to meet without our professors so we can get to know each other. They're really doing everything they can to make it feel as normal as it can be and make sure you're still connected to both your classmates and you can turn to them to study together and things like that, but that you also feel comfortable going to your professor with anything you need, whether work-wise or outside of work, and just dealing with everything right now, which I think students at Holy Cross have been really appreciative of this year.
I have to agree with Anna. Our professors are working really hard to adapt to the situation and just like teach us as best as they could. But not only just like our educational staff, but also the staff that work at Holy Cross. So like I could talk about the OME staff, so which is the Office of Multicultural Education. They work very hard to still connect with us and to still provide office hours so we have a safe space to talk to them, just that inviting environment to go in and speak, even though it's not the same because it is online. Everyone's really trying their hardest to adapt and just, be there for everybody else.
I totally agree with everything everyone said. I think it's definitely finding a balance between, maintaining that really great social community of Holy Cross at the same time as being mentally focused with the academic rigor that Holy Cross requires as well. And professors have been super understanding. One of the nice things is that, Holy Cross professors still have office hours. And so I was actually in office hours with one of my new professors last week. And it was supposed to be about my research paper proposal, and we ended up talking for 30 minutes about the most random things. We somehow ended up talking about his son, who's really afraid of lizards. He just went to school in Florida and found one in his bed. And I was trying to back him up and saying, I totally understand that. I would also be very scared. Well, like I said, you really truly feel the community, both your professors and with students as well. I mean, the clubs, organizations are still running. I mentioned before, I'm a part of SPUD, Student Programs Urban Development. And so a lot of the after school tutoring that students do has now gone remote. And so students are still able to pursue volunteer opportunities and not only stay connected with fellow Holy Cross students, but also with the Worcester community virtually as well.
Great, thank you. So let's talk about something a little bit different. Dennis mentioned sort of poor college students and the need for funds. Certainly not for the student organizations on campus, but students like some spending money. So I know some of you have had the opportunity to have jobs on campus or work study jobs. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's like and what your jobs have been?
Yeah, I love my job on campus. So I came in with work study and I started working at the Cool Beans Cafe, which is in kind of the student center on campus. It's a place I would say most students go to every single day at Holy Cross to get their daily coffee before class or a quick snack in between, something like that. And so I worked there. I was just a barista making coffee and stuff, but it was super fun because I was in the middle of all the action. I saw my friends every day. They'd come up and say, hey, or I would meet new people who were hanging out and doing homework in the lounge and stuff like that. And it never helped to have a little bit extra spending money in my pocket when I got out of work. And the best part about it for me is that you work with other students and your like manager, if you want to call them that, or we call them captains at Holy Cross, is also a student. So you're really just hanging out with other Holy Cross students, having fun, talking about school, study abroad, extracurriculars, whatever comes up. And it's a really great experience and I've loved doing it. And it's been fun learning how to make coffee too.
Yeah, I've had a great experience being a work study student here at Holy Cross. All first years working dining services, as Anna alluded to earlier, and I had friends who worked in dining services in the Kimball Main Dining Hall, and they keep going and they form a really nice, really tight-knit group of friends just from bonding from their shared experiences at Kimball and different experiences outside of their work as well. Just last year, I worked in the science library as a student worker, and it was, it'd be me and another coworker chilling in the front desk. We stack books, we do like quiet monitor log hours, but during those times, of course, it's a library, volume kept in mind. But I've met some great friends working in the library as well. We'll just be sitting there managing, and we talk about all things from classes to what's going on in the world, and just making funny jokes with one another. So that's a really awesome experience. And the thing is, after your first year, there are so many other opportunities to work on campus. People, the other panelists will chime in with their experiences after me, but I had a friend who, for the hockey games, he worked as the gazebo driver. I just thought that was like the funniest and the coolest job to have on campus. So seeing that guy doing his thing at the hockey games was always a highlight, and he got paid for it, which is awesome.
Yeah, like Dennis said, there are a lot of different opportunities for students to get involved with work. So I'm in my second year of working as a student grader in the economics department, which is one of my majors. And there are departments across the college that have opportunities for students to work as graders or teaching assistants. And it's a great way to build close relationships with faculty outside of the classroom. I've been able to work for professors that I've never had in class before, and it's great to get to know other faculty in the department. And it's a really cool experience just to like see the other side of things and like be able to like grade assignments and stuff.
Great, thank you. So students are asking about events. So we've talked about clubs and organizations and sort of things you do on your own, but what about organized events that the college offers during the week, on the weekends?
So like somebody mentioned before, we have shuttles that go out into Worcester. We also have shuttles that go out into Boston. So it's really accessible to do that. And so you just have to make sure you're on time for the shuttle and it'll take you out, and you can just go on your own adventure, just have your own little journey, see what's up. And then wherever the shuttle has dropped you off, they will pick you up at that same exact spot. So it's really easy. You just need to make sure you're on time. Like I've mentioned before, CAB hosts events too. So like I mentioned that we went ice skating one time. So there's a bunch of different events that the school has planned out.
There are also a bunch of cool events on campus that CAP puts on. Weekly, there's always new movie screenings on campus, and some of them are newer movies, and some of them are some classics that are fun to watch with your friends and reminisce a little bit. There are other amazing events. Dennis mentioned before that we have food trucks come, and not only is that during spring weekend, but that's also during the warmer months at the beginning of the fall semester and the end of the spring semester, where every single Friday, I want to say it's from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. There's a different sponsored food truck. One of them I remember was an ice cream truck one time, which I really, really enjoyed. Some others are grilled cheese. There's a Jamaican food truck, which had amazing rice. And so those are free and for all students to enjoy, and a lot of students do enjoy them. And there are also amazing events such as, there are guest speakers who come. And I distinctly remember a really fun paint night. I still have a painting. I actually just gave it to my grandpa the other day. It was a really cool tree with the moon. He really enjoyed it, and I had a lot of fun making it with my friends. And that was something I actually did as a first year, and one of the ways I got involved and was able to meet some really cool people while having a fun, low-key Friday night.
Yeah, I would definitely say Holy Cross school that has something for anyone and everything. Like there's always your club events that you're going to, but like Kim said, there's fashion shows put on by different clubs. There's the food truck nights, everything like that. And then there's also the sports games, which I find really fun. I don't do any sports at Holy Cross. I'm not an athletic person, but going and watching the games with my friends is super fun. Before the football games in the fall, there's parents drive down with all their trucks and they grill food for you, and you can hang out down there and then go watch the game with all your friends. And in the winter, you go and watch hockey and basketball, and they'll give you free chicken nuggets and stuff like that, which is a really fun way to spend your Friday nights.
Catherine, how do students find out about events on campus? So as a current student, how would you know what's going on this weekend?
Yes, I would say one of the most easiest ways to know is through your email. All of us have, most of all of us have emails on our phone, and so we get a bunch of different emails from different organizations and clubs, and also CAB, and so you're able to see what's happening throughout the week or for that particular night. Most events you do not have to register for ahead of time. And at the same time, so not only through email communication, but also in Hogan, which is our main campus center at Holy Cross, there are always posters and postings and huge boards that list out events that are happening at that time. And you can also see them around campus in the different academic buildings and on Kimball as well. So not only are there electronic reminders, but you can also see postings all throughout campus that'll hopefully spark some of your interest.
Great, thank you. And Kim, we have some interest in BSU, the Black Student Union, particularly about events. What kind of activities does the BSU do? And is it mainly on campus or off campus as well?
So far from when we've been on campus, all the events have been on campus. So we usually hold them in one of the rooms in Hogan, probably the 4th floor. So we just meet up together, space just to talk to each other. Also, as of right now during pandemic times, if you follow their Instagram, they usually post their events that they are going to host for the week or for the month, and they're Zoom events. So all you guys are able to join them. They're pretty accessible, and also for any other organization that I know of, they do the same thing as well. So for LASSO as well.
Great, thanks so much. So let's talk a little bit about opportunities related to spirituality and religious life. What's the experience like and opportunities for Catholic students, and what might the experience or opportunities be like for a non-Catholic or maybe a non-religious student on campus?
So there are a lot of opportunities to get involved through the Office of the College Chaplains if you are a practicing Catholic. So I am lucky to work as one of the music ministers in the chaplain's office, so work to provide music for the masses on campus. And there are a lot of students that serve as readers and greeters and communion ministers at the mass. And I know a lot of students who did that at their home parish before they came to college find it really rewarding to be able to continue to do those things at Holy Cross. I know I do, and it's great to be a part of that community. But for the many students at Holy Cross that don't identify as Catholic or aren't practicing, don't go to Mass, there are opportunities for everybody. We have a Protestant chaplain in the chaplain's office on campus who leads an interdenominational worship service on Sunday afternoons. And the chaplains are really great if you practice another religion. They're really great about connecting you with local places of worship in Worcester and organizing transportation to those places. And you don't have to be Catholic to get involved with the chaplain's office. So the chaplain's office sponsors the program, Student Programs for Urban Development, which is the big volunteering program, and students from many different faith traditions participate in that. And the chaplains are all the religious staff on campus, all the Jesuits and all the Jesuits who teach classes are more than happy to welcome you into the community, no matter what faith tradition you come from.
Yeah, echoing off of some of the last points Kyle makes, I am not Catholic. I do not practice. I come from a Buddhist family, but at no point from the first day I stepped onto campus as a first year, I've never felt excluded. I've never felt unwelcomed. I haven't felt uncomfortable or anything. I feel like anybody else on campus, and being on Catholic college as a non-Catholic person, even if I do not practice myself personally, all of the great programs and resources that Kyle offered, chaplain's office, any student can stop by, and it's just it feels like home. Students stop by, they grab a free cookie, there's a chaplain to talk to. It's a really nice experience, and all these other experiences on campus offered through that office, like the spring break immersion program and other retreats that are offered throughout the year. Those are open to everybody. And so one last thing I'll say as a non-Catholic person on a Catholic campus is that even if I'm not, the values that I've taken away from it, like the Jesuit values like Cura Personalis and men and women tuned for others, like even though those are particularly Jesuit values, those are like universal. Those align with my own personal life beliefs. And that's embedded in like everything we do, from music to work to the fun stuff we do. It's all about community. So it's been a nice, gratifying experience.
Thanks so much. So we are closing in on 8 o'clock. We did our best to answer all of your questions. I know there are some we did not get to, so we hope that you know this is not the end of our conversation. So please do reach out to us at any point with other questions. I will wrap up with a two-parter, and I'll let you, our panelists, choose their own adventure for the question they'd like to answer. And I think they're both interesting questions. So either what was something that really has surprised you about your Holy Cross experience, particularly related to social life or extracurricular life, and or what are you most looking forward to when you can get back to campus?
I can start. I think I'd like to answer the second part of the question. I think for me, the thing I'm most looking forward to is probably the daily social interactions that you have. And I'm talking about the very small ones. And when you're walking through our small campus, you end up running into so many people, not only students, but there's sometimes alumni, staff, and professors as well. And so I am always waving or saying hello, and I always end up stopping and having at least 2 different 5 to 10 minute conversation, just catching up with a professor that I used to have or a student that I haven't seen in a while. And so I think those are some little social interactions that I definitely miss by virtue of being in a pandemic, but I am most looking forward to those little daily social interactions when I get back to campus next semester.
Yeah, similarly to that, one of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to is just being back at Holy Cross, being back in the living learning environment. I know we really call Montserrat the living learning environment, but my whole Holy Cross experience has been a living learning community, and just being with so many amazing like-minded people and being able to do service and be a part of music groups and things like that. it's really complemented my college experience, and I'm really looking forward to being able to do some of those things again.
I can answer the first question. So something surprising to me when I first came would have to be how friendly and how social everybody is. Like I first went to the campus when I was a sophomore, so I wasn't even like an accepted student or anything like that. Just walking, minding my business on along campus, and everyone's just saying hi to you, just like going up to you, wanting to like see who you are, or just like what's your story. Everyone's just willing to listen to like what you have to say. So that's something that surprised me when I first went in, how like friendly everyone is and just like how engaging they want to be and just like know about you and like connect with you on a personal level.
Yeah, kind of going off of all of that, I think one of my favorite things to do on campus is with my friends to go and sit in Cool Beans Cafe because they have these big comfy chairs on that first floor of Hogan, and just like park ourselves down with our backpacks and pretend we're going to do work, and then really just sit there and talk to each other for the next like 4 hours. But we'll go and we'll do that like once a week, and kind of like Catherine was saying, you'll end up talking to like 30 or 40 people you weren't planning on seeing if you sit there for a few hours, because they just come wandering in, and people for your class stop to ask you a question or just say hey. I have professors walk by and just sit down and talk to you for a while to see what's going on. Anything, everyone, you learn about new events, like you'll see Santa running around taking videos, like random stuff happens, and if you just sit there and watch, it's so funny, and it's so fun to like be sitting with your friends, and you get a little bit of work done at some point usually, but it's really just that sense of community, and that's what a big part of college is, at least for me, is having those connections with people and meeting new people. And so I'm very, very excited to be back in those big comfy chairs in Hogan.
All right, so I'm going to touch upon both of those questions. If there's one word I got to sum up to talk about the social experience at Holy Cross, it's easy. So that's not saying coming in as a first year student is hard. It's pretty terrifying. It's pretty terrifying coming from all different backgrounds, being in a new area, living on your own. But man, just joining one single club or talking to one person just opens you to a venue of such an amazing community at the school. I know we keep saying that word here, but it really is true. Community is the best part of Holy Cross. I joined the marching band and I moved in a week early, and such an amazing organization. And you're friends with all the peers. I had like nice group of friends moving in. And in terms of the upperclassmen, it was like having a group of like 20 mentors for me right off the bat from all different fields, all different experiences, who were more than willing to give me advice and offer me opportunities, even whether I asked for it or not. So the thing I most look forward to doing when I get back onto campus is paying it forward, because I've met so many excellent upperclassmen from my first year to last year. Especially, I love those seniors that I got to meet last year, which is a shame the year ended for them in that way. So I feel as a junior, senior, eventually as an RA, just acting as a resource, guiding first years and prospective students as a tour guide. That's why I like doing this job, giving them the same experience that everyone else in the community has given me. And if there's one last bit of advice I can offer, was something I heard from a panel when I was a prospective student, and that was, there are no choices that are bad, only choices that are not as good as others. And the community at Holy Cross is top notch, and it is something else you won't get anywhere else. It is truly amazing.
Well, I want to offer an enormous thank you to all of our panelists for your participation tonight, and of course to our attendees for your excellent questions and your attention. Please keep in touch, keep the questions coming. We hope you have a wonderful week. Stay safe and be in touch. Thanks.